Hello and welcome to Watchdog Wargaming. This video is going to be slightly different because it's more of a serious matter, but before you switch off, turn off or whatever, just have a listen to what I say. As I said, Wargaming Conventions have a cancer, and that cancer is thieving individuals. The reason why I brought this up to attention now is a case of, I know over the years I've seen, heard lots and lots of issues that have been going on. Whether you're a trader, whether you're an individual on the show, or you just put stuff on the bringing by, and as I said, there's always something that goes missing, sprouts legs and walks or everything. So the reason why I brought this up to your attention now is that, we all know it's out there, and we all know that we should be doing something about it. And recently my son went up to Warhammer Fest with the Titan Owners Club. No, he didn't have a Titan stolen. However, something that was quite dear to him during one of the demo games up there, again, sprouted legs and walked away and spoilt the whole weekend for him. So you're probably going to say, oh no, he owns a Titan, so he's got lots of money. No, he's saved and saved and saved for his Titans, and then what was stolen on this occasion with his dice bag, all his dice that are Adeptus Titanicus special editions that came out when the first game came out, lots of stuff that was relating to Adeptus Titanicus basically disappeared, and he was absolutely gutted. There is a my faith in humanity has come back, and also I'll tell you about a little bit what's happened subsequently to that. But again, so that led me thinking what else has happened over the years, either to myself or I'm aware of. I had a couple of chats with a couple of individuals. So and I'll give you a couple of examples that I'm aware of, and that may have resonance with that you may be aware of yourselves. So, like I said, Warhammer Fest, lots and lots of people there, very, very busy. The Titan Owners Club were in a cordoned off area, and they had each player had their own area where they had their own personal kit and everything else, and then with a cordon around that. So they did the best they could, but you still got lots of people, lots of queuing, and it just disappeared. So they reported to the security, they reported to the Games Workshop staff there on there. There's not a lot they can do, but I also did hear a whisper that actually the actual Games Workshop shop itself had a number of fests where people just took items and walked out. So it's affecting the big companies as well as the small companies. And to be honest, the actual small companies can't take in that those losses that the big companies can easily absorb. But so Warhammer Fest, that was the one. So Wargaming Conventions, and I know that we've been to Wargaming Conventions up and down Britain, and you've got the big ones, you've got the small ones, and as you're walking around, you see, let's say, a normal seller there's a couple of tables out with all their fronts. They've got all their blister packs on little stands all around them. You've got some bloke who's on the till, and there's usually somebody else, and you've just got crowds and crowds and crowds. So if you're in that lot, it's easy to put things in your bag, walk away with it, and people never know. So again, friend of mine who's has a small online shop and occasionally does conventions, went to a venue a couple of years ago now, and that was at a race course place. Busy, and he was selling his stuff at a discounted price anyway, so it wasn't extortionate, so people were getting a bargain. And he did a stock check after the event, after the weekend, and he was nearly £500 down in stock. Now, like I said, big companies, that's by the by, water off duck's back. But when you start small companies that's trying to keep afloat, £500 is a big wad of cash. Now, as you're going around, you know, sort of the current thing is that it seems to be a bit of a free-for-all, you know, and we do, if we want to continue to be able to do that and be able to browse without somebody sat on your shoulder going, "Can I help you, mate?" and all this, you know, so we need to take responsibility for not only us but other war gamers. Unfortunately, you know, there's a few that are spoiling it for the majority. So yeah, so that was one example. You know, it happens to the big events, it happens at the small events, and so we are, by, you know, not stopping or helping to stop thefts. A lot of it is opportunist. You know, so you know they people sort of go there not with you know, the forethought of actually stealing stuff, but some do. And it's, oh, I like that, shiny, I haven't got the money for it, I'll pop it in the bag and walk away. So that's Wargaming Conventions. So what can we do about it? Well, we as gamers should have the moral courage to actually go to the shopkeeper and say, "I think he's up to something. He's looking a bit dodgy, and you might want to keep an eye on him." At least, you know, we're not talking you to go up to individual and sort of do arrests and stuff like that. No, just bring it to the shopkeeper's attention, or bring it to the organisers' attention. You've done your bit. That's it. If the person is, you know, found to have borrowed stuff, then you know, so it's up to them to actually report it to the police, or at least escort the person off the site, and so you know, so he's not a threat to anybody else there. The other thing is, where I personally had stuff stolen, is bring and buys. So again, another show in the southwest. I brought in 2 big boxes of I think it was roughly about 50 items, split between the 2 boxes. Lots of mixed price Games Workshop stuff, and so a lot of the Boltaction metals as well. And put them on the bring and buy as you do. Popped in back and now and again to actually see how they were going. I went, oh, there's one box seems to be quite empty. You know, so didn't think of any much of it. We'll go back to the end of the day, go back to collect your money for what you sold, only to find that the empty box is actually, majority of it's all been stolen. That actually is absolutely disgusting. I know it's, you know, and that's why when you go to book your stuff in, there's always that little thing at the bottom, you know, we are not responsible for your stuff being stolen. And that's because, again, thieving individuals take the stuff off and just walk away with it. You know, there's not a lot they can do. What I've started doing now is making it a little bit harder for people to steal stuff, and got the little hot glue gun, and actually if I'm using a cardboard box, then the thing's hot glued in. So you know, the people behind who's helping out, actually, so if that person's interested, they have to actually offer them the box and they can actually have a look at it. And then yeah, it is a bit fiddly to actually take the item out of the cardboard box, but at least they're not actually, it's not something that they can just take away and walk away. So but again, you know, it's individuals, it's spoiling for the rest of us. I don't put any big ticket price stuff in bring and buy anymore. In fact, sometimes I actually don't bother with the bring and buy, because I can't, as a seller that is, because I can't risk the stuff being stolen. No, it's not good. And then so the last example I can give you is, in fact, this was actually Salute, probably a good couple of years ago. Went up with a group on there and we did a big huge World War II display demo game, whatever you want to call it, and I had lots of Waffen SS German type figures, and I even remember what actually the figure was, and it was based on a penny, and it was a machine gun team, and so like the MG42 perched on the shoulder and stuff like that. Probably one of the better ones I've actually painted, to be honest. And I just remember this this gent, I would say, sort of in later years, coming up to us whilst we're all involved in the game, and said, "Oh, can I have a look at that figure?" "Yeah, okay, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, have a look." And I turned my back, went back to the finishing off the my turn, and went back to caught my notice, and I went, "Oh, the bloke's gone, and so is my figure." So it's you'd be surprised by who take things. It could have been a spur of the moment thing, but again, that was my own fault for not keeping an eye on actually on the table. I do sort of we've all been there. We've gone out to a big events where we've had a game with our mates and everything else, and we're all using the same figures, and sometimes it gets packed away and with other people's kit, and you just said to put a text out or something to mates. "Has anybody picked up a such and such?" "Oh yeah, I've got it." "Oh, no problem. I'll see you next time." That's fine and dandy, but it's actually when stuff is actually blatantly stolen. Again, it's the cost to you to buy a replacement, time to paint it again, and everything else. It's all harming ourselves. So by me using that word, "we have a cancer," I know it's quite a serious term, and sort of I've had family members that have actually passed on because of cancer, and I actually think this is as serious. Is that if we don't do something about it collectively as individuals, I think this is probably going to get worse. And where we go to events and have a good time, and sort of we're allowed to browse and peruse and everything else, that's probably all going to change. Things get more expensive, and at the end of the day, we can't afford to replace stuff that's been stolen. It's disappointing on those individuals that feel that they do have to steal things. Again, a lot of it's spur of the moment, but if we make the right choices, we can actually disrupt those individuals. I know the police have certain things. Was it 6 top tips for securing your shop? And so I had a quick read on that one. It was a meet and greet. So again, how many times have you gone to a vendors or a shop, and as soon as you walk through the door, even Games Workshop, that they've, as soon as you walk through the door, there's always someone there acknowledging you, and they said that is good for business, but it's also good for security, because it means that, hang on, I'm here, I'm going to keep an eye on you, type of thing. Also, as well, you have things like crime mapping. So, say for instance, if you're running a shop, or you've been to events before, and you know that if you leave certain things in a certain area, it's likely to get stolen or moved or just disappears. So you have a crime map, so you can identify. So I'm not going to put my key items, my expensive items in that area. I'm actually going to put them next to the till, because it's going to be harder for those individuals to remove them. Again, so if you're a shop owner and you seem to be having certain things stolen, especially if they're high value, then bring them nearer to the till where you can keep an eye on them. Electronic tagging and stuff like that. So that's for the big shops and stuff like that. But again, it's simple things like keeping your area tidy. So if your area is tidy, clean and tidy, not looking like a bomb's hit it, it shows that to the individual that you are keeping an eye on your products. You're making sure that your shop is clean and tidy, and that means that that the potentially puts off those individuals that you're keeping an eye on your stock and individuals walking around. Personal safety again. If you've got the confidence to go up to an individual and to actually say, "Excuse me, mate, what are you doing?" It's a little bit risky, but again, if I saw someone, I would go to the shopkeeper or go to the security or go to one of the organisers and actually said, do my bit, pass it on to them, and then take it from there. And then also, if you're a shopkeeper, safety in numbers. So if you're a one-man band behind a desk and everything else, I would suggest getting a couple of people to help you out. You know, they can help you with your sales, or you can have ones that specifically to keep an eye on your stock, or to keep an eye on your table and everything else. You know, there's preventing these individuals for having that opportunity to walk away with stuff. I think that's the main priority. But unfortunately, it's out there. We have to do something about it. Have a positive stand about this. I'm sure this is a worldwide issue at Wargaming Conventions. Sure, the Americans and the Europeans and everybody else has their similar issues. I think organisers need to be a bit more robust. If they come across individuals like this, then call the police, prosecute them, escort them off the site. You know, you do have that right to escort someone away from your event. If they're not on the event, then that might prevent further thefts. But there's a lot of things we can do. But it really annoyed me, especially sort of this, you know, recently with the Warhammer Fest with my son and the Titan Owners Club. You know, they have big ticketed items, and whilst this time one of the Titans didn't walk, but it was actually well, in fact, what did he have nicked? It was, yeah, one of these special edition dice bags. What was it? Adeptus Titanicus special edition dice and other dice that he's collected from, you know, different Space Marines chapters and everything else. You know, things like a tape measure and sort of a dice rolling mat. You know, these are little minor things, but it's a case of, if you've collected your things over the years, you're very passionate for things. It's not only the physical loss of your items, it's actually you're gutted because those things actually mean something to you. So it's the emotional loss as well. However, you know, so he's got some good friends, and there's also some good contacts within the various different communities, and one of my local GW stores, which is down in Swindon, and you've got Matt, who's he's the actual manager down there. Got to hear about it through friends of a friends, and he was able to dig out the stores. I believe it's actually one of it personal to him, a replacement dice bag. So that's wanging its way onto sort of my son now. So, you know, yes, we have some individuals out there are thieving and damaging wargaming, you know, on its different forms. But on the other side, we've got the positive side, where we've got within the wargaming community, people who are willing to replace things, you know, out of their own pocket or out of their own collections and stuff like that. And so that's what we should be aiming at. None of this, you know, thieving, which I think is bad for all of us. But there we are. That's my whinge, gripe, moan. Hopefully, sort of it sparked a little bit of interest into you, and so the next time you got your shop, or you got your demo game, or even if you're just down the local club, just be mindful of who's around, what they're doing. You know, if they look suspicious, just keep an eye on them. And if you're 100% sure that they're up to no good, then speak to one of the organisers, speak to your boss, your line manager, or even if you've got that, you know, if you're confident, to go up to the individual and say, "Excuse me, mate, you know, what are you doing? Can I help you?" Call the police. But there we are. So that's it's something different from myself today, but it was a case of back to normal sort of wargaming related material. But I just thought I'd share that with you anyway. So yes, so thank you very much appreciated. It's still here after, was it 19 minutes of me rabbiting on. But yeah, you take care, and I will catch up with you very soon. So all the best now.
Squad morale restored.